As they rove the Rebbe to make a סיום every day from Rosh Chodesh Mנחem until 15 B'Av. Tonight we have the honor to have a Choshev in German, a Rosh Yeshiva in Yeshivas Ateres Mנחem, הרב החסיד לוי יצחק, קארפ will make a סיום on מסכת ערכין. הרב קארפ, בבקשה.
One word from the Rebbe at the end of Masechet Erchin. The Rebbe has a Gishmak Yesicha, but one word, for Motzi Shabbos. We're Mekasher, the סיום Masechta at the beginning of the Masechta. So the beginning of the Masechta talks about the dinim of Erchin. When a person says, Erech Ploini Olai, or Erech Yolai, the halacha is that it all depends on the age. From Kodesh to 5 years old, from 5 to 20, from 20 to 60, and al derech zeh after 60. The different halachas, different amounts. Beginning it goes up, and after 60 it goes down. Al derech zeh, there's a difference between a zachar and a keva, the min, between if it's a zachar or a keva. Sapitashtus, perhaps the Indian of Erchin is the Indian which is Gzeres HaKosuv. The Rebbe wants to say that the emes is that Erchin, really, the Indian of Erchin has to do with Tam V'das. The fact is, we make a chilik between the age, between the Zachar and the Keva, and after later on, Ben Shishim, it goes down. We see the one that's Ma'ayirchid is the Kohen, and the Kohen makes an evaluation. So in other words, Erchin has a shaykhis with the Indian of Tam V'das. Based on that, we can understand the kesher from the beginning of the Masechta to the end of the Masechta. The last Mishnah of Masechta Erchin, there talks about B'nigeya, the Ariel Levim, that there's cities and the outskirts of the cities. There's a part that's Migresh, which is empty land, and then there's a part which is Sadis V'Kramim. And the reason for that is, you need to have cities to live, but to beautify the city, so on one hand you have flat, empty land. Derech zeh, you have parts that there's Sadis V'Kramim, that things grow, which should look beautiful on the outskirts of the city. And the halacha is that you can't change from a migrish to a sada to a migrish, and you can't make an ear to a migrish, and so on and so forth. Which all these dinim, the Rebbe says, is not in l'mayla matam v'das. It's understood. It's understood. You want to have harim, you want to have cities, so you can't take a city and make it flat land because you're destroying the land. So Ebazoi, side the beginning of the Masechta, side the end of the Masechta have to do with dinim, which are not Gzeres HaKosuv Stam. The Eibishter wanted there should be a Soda, there should be a Migish, should be a ear, but rather all these dinim have to do with Tam V'das. Based on that, the Rebbe continues on to say that the end of the Masechta, we speak about the dinim of Stei Achuzah, and we speak about the Inyan of the Stei Chermi Koyenim. Chermi Koyenim means to say it is something which a person is machrim and makes a cherem and it goes to a kohen. Stei Achuzah is a Yisrael that has a land. So a Yisrael that has a land and you want to be, and you're makdish it, there's a certain dinim how they be paid it. These dinim, the Rebbe says, are not dinim of Gzeres HaKosuv, but rather these inyanim which are dafke brought down, Sayin, Parshas Erchin and Parshas Buchu Kaisek, and Sai in Masechtas Erchin to teach us that there's a keshet to Erchin. In other words, it's not something which Azay to Tere Gizokt. Acher V'Koyenim, the din is Kach V'Kach. Now there's the Stei Achuzah, the din is Kach V'Kach. But there's Tam V'das. Based on that, the Rebbe answers a kasha. Without getting into the details, but the Rebbe asks a very, very shturmidik kasha that all the Achroinim ask. That there's a Rambam, that the Rambam seems to say that a Kohen that has a soda that is from Cherem, he's able to be machrim. The question is, there's a Chayt HaMishnah Mefarashis that says clearly that a Kohen and Levim don't have the din of Cherem, they can be machrim things. So the question is, where does the Rambam get such a halacha? The Chayt had negative Mishnah, Mechazkin storms about the kasha. And the Rebbe says that the reason is because the Rambam is l'shitase, we can sagen, the Mechazkin is l'shitase. Mechazkin hat verstanden the din of Chermi Koyenim is a din of Gzeres HaKosuv. You can't be mechalak between one type of Cherem and another type of Cherem. Yes, the Rambam has a reason based on the Chinuch, there's a reason of Chermi Koyenim. So therefore, there's certain instances, without getting into the details, there's certain instances that you can have to do the Indian of Cherem. That's what the Rebbe says. It's for Motzi Shabbos. Motzi Shabbos up with the Chamaisa from the Baal Shem Tov, where you do as a lav daf mit avzong am meise lebal shemtev, so mit dem ken zong am meise mit a hill parach. And hill parach is his lula was also taken Yud Beis Mנחem. And the story happened also Yud Aleph, sorry. And the story happened also in Chodesh Mנחem, a famous story. But again, the hill parach, Reb hill parach always wanted to see the Alter Rebbe. And every time he tried running after the Alter Rebbe, somehow the Alter Rebbe left. One time he tried to mischach him, and what happened was he knew where the Alter Rebbe was, and he was going to go over to where the Alter Rebbe was, under some places under the bed, under the couch, or under the safsa, whatever it is. And when the Alter Rebbe was there, the Alter Rebbe says, "Benigana Yidua." As a Yaman at the Kasha in Erchin, he appeared a Kasha to ask the Alter Rebbe. He says, "Yaman at the Kasha in Erchin, there refers to Chmayir Zayin." And what happened was the Hillel chalished. So Kiyudua, that it's not just a gleich vertel, a one-liner that the Alter Rebbe said to the Hillel Paracher, but the Rebbe says is Kiyudua that the Hillel took it seriously, and the Hillel took this Hayra, L'meshach kol yemei chayusei, b'alma day Kiyudua that the Hillel was a very big mahader of mitzvahs, and he was very with al chumras to the point that it says in the Deburim, the Baizer Kamler try giving him a shtickle b'koydis b'neged the Inyan, and the Hillel Paracher cried and he explained himself and so on and so forth. There's a story that the Rebbe brings down from Chassidim. The Rebbe says that Chassidim used to like saying this story. They used to say what it is spilos. The spilos was that just to bring out the ma'ila of Reb Hillel, the chumras of Reb Hillel, and the hidurim of Reb Hillel would go around, and Reb Hillel was a b'choyer. And what happened was, in order that Reb Hillel, you had a suffix that perhaps the b'choyer, since today we have a shaylam that again, the cheskes of the kohenim, so Shirokeni would go around and he made sure he was worried that perhaps the kohen that was already did Peter Haben on him wasn't a real kohen, so he would go constantly, every time he saw a kohen, he would be paid to himself. The Rebbe says that story can't be, because Reb Hillel was a Levi. Since Reb Hillel is a Levi, so he's not mechuyev in Peter Haben. What the truth is, that the L'chayda from the Rebbe we can understand, the L'chayda maybe Reb Hillel had a double suffix, maybe as Nishkin Kohen, after Nishkin Levi. Suffix Levi, so it's a svek of Chumra. But Kinida, the Rebbe Nishkin Halfman, the Rebbe says that the story couldn't happen. But a kol parim, there was a story that Chassidim would bring to bring out to the Yidurim, the Chumras, in the Ger Reb Hillel. So the Shechayla, the Rebbe asks, in the Sichas, L'chura, perhaps, the Rebbe says if the whole Indian is the Erchin is Alpit Hamadas, so L'chura Reb Hillel, we know that Reb Hillel, Reb Isaac Hamler was a maskil, Mashaykin Reb Hillel was considered a oivid. The Shaila is, L'chura if the whole Indian is the Erchin Amensh Tafsach Ma'arich Zayin, you kump this Reb Hillel became a oivid, L'chura should have been a maskil. So the Rebbe explains as he and his sentence, because when a person stuck a Ma'arich Zik, and makes a real evaluation, he comes to that Kara, Alpit Hamadas, that the Ikir Indian Avodas Hashem is benigeh to be a Oived Hashem to have Kabbalah so. Adkan.
The סיום. Say the סיום now.
The rest about the סיום.
Yeah.
We sagen noch ein Wort, that the Rebbe just a very...
Some people want to stay Mitzrayim.
It's only the Rebbe.
We have to say Kiddush, right?
The Rebbe, there's a new letter that was just printed, a new letter that
That you just wrote.
I appreciated the letters. I think it's on the Mesechta and I want to share. The Rebbe, there's somebody wrote to the Rebbe in Tavshim and Dalit. He asked the Kasha in the first place is Mesechta Erchin. The first place is Mesechta Erchin, the Taisus asks the Kasha. We all know that when it comes to Mesechta Nedarim, Mesechta Nazir, it says Kini Naziris, Kinaziris, and Kini Nedarim, Kinadorim. In other words, a Kinui Neder and a Kini Nazir also has a din of that has the same exact thing. A Kini, I guess, roughly translates a nickname. So Taisus asks a Kasha, how come when it comes to Erchin, we don't find that Kini Erchin Kerchin? That's Taisus' Kasha. Taisus answers that the reason is because the only reason Chazal were Mesakin Kinuyim, reason why Chazal were Mesakin Kinuyim was because we were worried that you're going to say Korban Lashem, you're going to say the Eibishter's name, you're not going to just say Korban, you're going to say Lashem, and perhaps you're just going to forget to say the word Korban, you're just going to say Lashem, and therefore it's going to be Moitzi Shem Shemayel Levatol. Zok Taisus, Fizah, we understand why by Erchin there's no Indian of Kinuyim. Why is there no Chazal? We're not Mesakin Kinuyim. Why were they not Mesakin Kinuyim? Because by Erchin you don't have to Bechlal You don't have to say the Eibishter's name. Since you don't have to say the Eibishter's name, she's an Erkelai. So Sharkain, there's no Chash. So Chazal did not have to Masakim the din of Kinuim. That's why the Mishnah doesn't say Kinu Erkin Kerk, because there's no such din. So the Shoyal wrote to the Rebbe, he asks, the truth is what Kinuim are is a Machlaikis. There's a Machlaikis between Reish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan, and they get out what Kinuim are. Reish Lakish says that what is Kinuim? Kinuim is what Chazal Shebadu Melibam, for this reason that we mentioned before. But Rabbi Yochanan says is L'shaynish Alakumeh, which means it's L'shaynish of Goyim. Goyim had these L'shaynish. So Chazal said if you use L'shaynish of Goyim, Asher Al-Kain, and Nedorim Halchum Asher Hashem B'nei Adam, so Asher Al-Kain, a Kini Neder is considered like a Neder. So the Shoyal asks, how come the Taisus doesn't explain it according to Bolshittis? Now, Kinira, now, Bepashtos, simply, saying this in parentheses, simply, the Malerta Taisus, so if Taisus only explains it along one shita, that Matrachten. Why L'chayr if Taisus says like one shita, either it's Pashit, after Maram Shif, he'll explain you why it's Pashit. Perhaps Taisus is L'shitase, perhaps Diviter Anima Kamacha Bashim Makamacha, but upon him, as Taisus is only explaining according to one shita, so L'chura the Davar Zeh, Omer Deshuni, L'chura why? Now this Shoyal wanted to say the reason is because Taisus Pasch is like one shita, and Allah is like Reish Lakish, not like Rabbi Yochanan, so therefore Taisus. The Rebbe says the Rebbe there was a Kabbalah, the Rebbe says Taisus is a Mefarish, not a place. But here the Rebbe writes very interesting words. Lafi ani es daiti, it's a Chiddush Nifla. The Rebbe says like this, Ibra, the Tzorich Iyin Gadol. The Rebbe says is, L'chayre be'emes, Tzorich Iyin Gadol, the Loi Tiris Ubil Edas Rabbi Yochanan. Why Taisus doesn't answer according to Rabbi Yochanan? Only answers like the Shittis Reish Lakish. V'ulai zeu kavanas Shittim Mekubetzes She'evik Kveiter Askem. Perhaps that's what's bothering the Shittim Mekubetzes on the side. But the Rebbe goes on to say, Avo, here's the Chiddush of the Rebbe. Yudua, it's known, Shelo Higiu L'Yidenu Kol HaTaisus, that not all parts of Taisus came to us. Upirish HaTaisus Nimshuchu Kama Deiris. And the Pshat of Taisus were Nimshuk many generations, Sheshlimu Vaisifu Zel Zeh, that Taisus was matching one another, Rapizeh, Yiturtzu, Kushis Shabbos with Taisus Shalanu, and based on that, the Rebbe says is, we'll answer many kashas and Taisus. In other words, the Taisus was a compilation from over many generations, from many different things put together. Perhaps that the reason why Taisus doesn't answer is not because it's Pashit. The reason is because Takin was a Taisus Shalafonenu that Taisus Takin avoided it. A kol panim, Zicher the Rebbe somehow mit darf meirig sein, a kol panim Lashon Erchim mit darf meirig sein. The Rebbe is definitely giving a certain yisod wie zu lernen at Taisus. Ich weiß nicht what adkan, if it's al derech, if making a chiddush or so on. But Zicher Taisus says very, very. The Rebbe is saying very, very mechudishtik. That Taisus of how to learn a Taisus Kilo Leimer. Could you learn from Hashmatas a Taisus or not? Just to finish up the last stick of the Gemara says like this. The Gemara says, "Amen. Mנחem Yitzchak al gedei tamino kechuzase oilu ulhem anami achuzase kamashma achuzase in chemer loy hajam bechesadeu usikul useftezer."
Das ist schon was, hast du gesagt, das ist schon unbedingt auch gesagt.